Thank you for welcoming me onto your screens or onto your headphones, depending on how you're watching this. I'm Eddie, and this is the Rollback. And as you can tell, I got a new office. New spot, new everything, more video reviews going forward, finally. So hi everyone, glad to be back. Folks, for today, I'm going to be covering Smile, aka It Follows, with Truth or Dare, and like a sprinkle of Mad Max. That part. Smile. It follows. Let me go over the cast real quick. We've got, and I have a camera now. A computer here. It follows. Sosie Bacon plays Sosie Bacon. That's correct. Plays Dr. Rose Cotter. She's a psychologist who witnesses a grisly suicide by a patient, and then seemingly the entity, evil spirit, bad energy / ghost / demon / thing, and I think that's probably the best way to acknowledge it, this thing that follows her. In it, we also have A-Train, aka Jesse Usher, who plays Trevor, her fiance. We have Mr. Kyle Gallner playing Joel, a detective who's an ex-boyfriend, I'm going to assume. We have Caitlin Stacey playing Laura Weaver. We also have Robin Wigert playing Dr. Madeline Northcott. She's the psychiatrist. That's saying something. We also have one Mr. Calpen playing Dr. Morgan Desai. And shout out to Mr. Kevin Kepi, who plays like the creepiest fucking thing in this film by a mile. The second creepiest thing, actually, by a country mile. So let me go into it real quick here. So the doc witnesses a suicide and everything goes sideways. This film, Smile, it could have easily like taken the tropes of It Follows and just like copy it beat for beat, but instead of it being a sexually transmitted disease, it was trauma. But it plays it serious to a point where you seriously believe it. Things go bump in the night. You see things going on in the house. The thing is, it plays it quiet at first. Things don't always come at you. Things don't always go, boo. There's a slow, progressive build-up throughout the film. And that plays to this film's strengths. It's a build-up. It's a chase. It's over time. Things get more and more serious and, quite frankly, insane. Those films that's a serious scary, but I appreciate it. There's a lot of films that, like, go over the top or cartoony or get too meta. I'm looking at you, Scream. But this film, because of how serious it plays it makes you double down. Now, bear in mind, this could have backlashed. It could have been so serious it's stupid, but no, they tread that thin line very, very well. Props to them on that. Also, because of how serious they play it, it's also believable that a doctor would unravel like this. Like, Nikki was making a point when we were watching the movie that she said, well, she's a psychiatrist, she's a doctor, she should know how to act to not, show people that she's nuts, that she's seeing this monster, she should be able to play the part. To which, my response was, well, she's going through some serious shit. Like, even a doctor would probably break at this point. Which, again, because how serious they play, you can believe the character and the journey that they go through in the days preceding watching the suicide. She unravels. She sees things. She sees these hallucinations, these images. There's something there. Something is there. She sounds like she needs to be institutionalized. Also, this film deals with something that I personally can appreciate. Trauma. One of the big things in this film is the fact that in order for the monster to move on, you have to kill yourself in front of somebody to traumatize them, and then they have to deal with the monster. The only real way out of the cycle is if you kill someone in front of another person, that other person now has to deal with that trauma. It follows to them. It latches onto that person. Which makes sense, but also, like, it makes sense that this doctor would have that moral quandary. She wants to help people. Her backstory is a bit tragic, and we'll go into that in just a sec. But her whole shtick is she wants to help people. They make that abundantly clear in the very beginning. She wants to help people. And so for her to be told, well, the only way to live is to pass it on to someone else, it's a good moral quandary, but something predictable that she wouldn't do, thankfully. So the final showdown is like a part therapy session, part final battle with a monster. She goes to her childhood house that she hasn't been to in seemingly decades, and confronts the fact that her mother did die there. But what isn't shown to us is that her mother actually said, "I made a mistake. Call for help," and the girl just closed the door, essentially. I don't want to say letting her mom die, but I mean, she's a child and she carries that guilt with her. She was terrified of her mother. She was 10 and her mother was a drug addict. Seek help, for the record, by the way, folks. If you are having any substance abuse issues, please seek help. But that said, this 10-year-old girl didn't know how to deal with her mother and her drug abuse issues and her mental health issues. She was scared. She closed the door. Her mother died. So she's carried around that guilt. And she lets it out. And then her mother begins to transform into the monster. And it's the second creepiest thing in this film. Props to that gentleman that played the mom monster, that tall behemoth, just a terrifying, grotesque, ugly creature that you don't see it at first, but even when you get a full-on shot, props to them, that thing is still fucking scary. That's hard. In most films, they hide the monster, hide the killer, hide the demon until the very last moment, because once you get a full look at it, it's not as scary. No, this creature, terrifying. Fucking terrifying all the way through. She does manage to kill the monster, bear that in mind though, using a lantern. She kills it. Then she goes and she reconciles with the cop, asking, "Can you just watch me while I sleep? I need to rest." He hugs her. They kiss, and the movie ends. And I'm glad that it ended with this happy moment. Yeah, please like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. We're always trying to grow this channel. And we'll catch y'all later. See everybody. Okay, it was a fake out. It was a complete fucking fake out. So she hugs the cop, and it begins to say, the cop says, "I will always be with you," and then begins to smile, and then, oh shit, she's back at the house. Like, props to them. I thought this was going to be a happy ending. No, it ain't. She's back at the house. The cop shows up. The doc runs back in, locks the door. The monster approaches her, and she yells, "Get away from me." She's just screaming. And then the monster... How do I describe this? So, monster rips off its skin to reveal this grotesque being with multiple jaws underneath it. And it then begins to rip open her mouth and go inside of her. Almost like trauma that you can't let go. And she then commits suicide in front of the cop, lighting herself on fire. And all I remember saying is, "Shoot her! Shoot her!" Because I thought that if the cop shoots her, then technically the monster didn't kill someone, didn't commit a suicide in front of the cop, and it's a win. The doc has to die. Yeah, the cop may go to jail, but the monster lost. That said, though, Nikki pointed out that it's not the suicide that passes on the monster, it's trauma that passes on the monster, a death. So if the cop shot the doc, trauma? I don't know. There's a bit of gray area. Maybe they'll explore it in a sequel, if they do a sequel, although I don't think I want them to. Much like It Follows, it's a great standalone horror film. The final monster is grotesque and ugly, but you only see it for maybe like 15 seconds, and that's more than enough time to have me checking the backseat of my car because fuck that noise. But yeah, the movie ends, but props to this film. There's a heartbeat to this movie. It's trying to deal with trauma. It's trying to deal with the weight of what you're going to deal with. Alternatively, maybe another version of this ending could have been the fact that Rosie continues on and she's a therapist, but maybe the last scene, part Babadook, is her seeing the creature in the corner and it's saying, "I'll come back for you eventually," and her saying, "Not now." Like, because the monster says at one point, "I'll never leave you. Like, I'm always going to be with you." They can be a little on point, but maybe that's the trauma that she's dealing with. Maybe, just maybe, that's the issue that she's having to deal with, the trauma, but that she can put it aside. Because we all deal with trauma in our own way. But they also make a point in this film saying sometimes wounds never heal, and maybe that has to be okay. And it can show that she's still wounded, but she can live with it, move forward, and live a happy life. And I think that would be good. You know, that's all. But that said, this movie is way more than a knockoff. It stands on its own 2 feet. Props to them for taking a concept that was already done, but making a completely original film around it. I read one review that said that this is a 12-minute, short movie that was stretched into 2 hours. No, because you can't go through all of this story in just 2 hours. There's a beating heart to this film, and props to them for making it work. A solid A. I recommend this film to anyone that wants to watch something scary this month. Smile is should be on your list. Yeah, what a great way to start off the Halloween season. And folks, we have a very busy October coming up ahead. Not everything is a horror movie, but a lot of it will be. That said, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of The Rollback. Please like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. We're always trying to grow this channel. Hope you like the new office. Hope you like everything going forward. We're going to be growing to the best of our ability. Yeah. That said, I've been Eddie, and this was The Rollback. We'll see everybody.